Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Reverse 1999 reaction. Today we have in Jeopardy, as requested by Guardbro in the comments of the last video, because 3.5 is out right now, and that just makes sense, right? So here we are, going to be listening to this. It has the prelude and the battle theme, so I'll see what everything sounds like here in context. And without further ado, let's go! Ooh, on the up. All right. Oh. Spanish to jazz. Honestly, a pretty natural progression. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Okay. Damn, dude. Where did that come from? Whoa, what the hell was that? They caught me vibing. Okay. A bit of a shift there. God, this is spicy. And this is beautiful. Would it be wrong to say it's kind of giving me GTA vibes? I don't think that's wrong. But like, I don't know. It's definitely more true to form than the more modern sound, even with the modern stuff in here. This just slaps, dude. That's such an interesting little vocal interlude. Kind of treating it as a sample. Like, you couldn't get more, like, I don't know if I want to call this fusion, but I mean, it's definitely Spanish. But that hip-hop sound that's in there is definitely where I would, like, classify that as a fusion. Spanish hip-hop, nothing new, but the way that they wrote this is just so, it's like I kind of mentioned the whole GTA thing earlier. This song feels so much more like it would come out of Spain or like central Mexico even, like somewhere that's like deep in the roots and they really give a shit, but also modernized for a little bit more of like, you know, the modern audience. I love that. I'm a drummer. You're never gonna find me hating on some zesty Latin rhythms. I love this so much. And like I said, just the generalized vibe of modernizing that sound has always been fucking sick to me. It's always so cool. It sounds great. Really, no matter who does it or where, it just feels so good. It's like the beats that come with being a Latin vibe is just, it's going to adjust so well to basically anything. And since a lot of modern rhythm is based on those inspirations, everything just kind of works. So pretty much if you take any Latin groove and you just slap a standard beat on it, you're gonna sound fantastic. It works with everything. It is so flexible, and I really, really love how this one sounds. And to start out why I love this song, the song starts out strong itself. We have a B minor, an A, and then a D. That's just our basic chord progression that kind of starts the whole track. Not directly those chords, there's like a G in there as well. Like they do move between G and E minor, but largely that's the relationship we've got in the beginning, is that passage. Just those three bouncing around and creating a little bit of like a solid foundation that transfers into something else a little bit later. And this song tries to get away from those initial chords pretty quickly, like immediately. After we start setting that foundation, they're like, no. Let's do something else. Let's modulate this into something that's basically entirely different. Like, I don't think an entire key change happens here, but it's not impossible since this is the prelude kind of going into the main theme. And the way we transition out of this is kind of cool too, because we have that B minor, we go to the A, you know, keeping up the usual progression we already had, but then F sharp minor. Okay, that's different, not a huge deal. And that's where it gets really weird, because from that F sharp, we go to B minor, and then it just kind of, what the fuck is that? What a transition. And from here, we go straight from that to E. And then the rest of the song kind of bounces on this E and the A minor. So that's where the A minor came from, but just this extremely aggressive transition is why I'm like, okay, that might count as a key change, because it's, if that's just a modulation, that's a nuts modulation to just be like, ha da 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 da, then up to the E, like, and then you're just bop, 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 having a good upbeat time up there on the up rhythm, sure, you know? And that's where the song mostly sticks. We have a little bit of a variety that happens in here too, because at some point we need to get out of this and we actually move up to F sharp minor again, and we have that F sharp minor and C sharp, and that becomes this new pairing that's very similar to the E and the A minor. That's just in a slightly different variation of that. So we need to get out of this. So we go from A minor to E, and how do we do that? We go E to F. Okay, that's not too strange. Wrong. F diminished, F sharp diminished. Why F sharp diminished? You couldn't tell me, I don't know. C. This song is wild, all the way down to C. And that C is very interesting because it kind of acts as like an interlude chord between, of course, the diminished and the E. And it wants to resolve somewhere. It doesn't on its own. We have to go somewhere with it. So we go up to the E. And then that's what's strange about this. We did all this dancing from the E to the F to that weird diminished down to the C, just to go back to the E and then up to the F sharp minor that we're trying to move to. So why didn't we just go from this to this? I think the only reasoning for that is just the sake that the composer wanted to be a little bit cheeky, because they could have just moved from the E up to that F sharp minor, but they wanted to have a little bit of a song and dance before it got to that point. And then we have that same bounce between those. And then we do go back down, obviously, but we don't have nearly as much fanfare about it either. When it moves back down, it's a lot more smooth. That relationship doesn't happen where things are moving around a bunch. And we just kind of stick between those chord pairs pretty much the rest of the song. And that's the bulk of what's happening with this track on the back end. Everything on that up rhythm keeps everything going. We have this beautiful, really, I love that they had this like Latin inspired sound for this. I haven't done this event because I wasn't sure if there would be any new music. I can never be sure. And a lot of the times I play things muted when they're new because I don't know, but I didn't know that this was going to be an inspiration. You know, I didn't know that the Latin sound was going to be utilized in this at all. So this was a complete surprise to me when I heard this. And that's why I'm so happy that it happened, because the Latin sound, the Spanish sound is just something that is like the groundworks of most modern music. We have so much inspiration going to other countries and other cultures, and within Spanish-speaking countries and cultures themselves, we have so many different subgenres and divisions of music and those inspirations and where they end up. Like the upbeat thing, for example, that's something that's very Spanish and very, of course, Latin American as a result of that. And that was shared to places like Cuba. Big shocker there. And then Cuba was like, hey, Jamaica, have you ever heard our music? And Jamaica was like, hell yeah. And they took that. They were using a bunch of that upbeat stuff. And that made it to the States later through things like ska. So here we are with this giant like daisy chain of inspirations. And everything there came from the Spanish influence of music that they pulled from the motherland of Spain. So it's like, let's fucking go. I love how much modern music works with this Latin vibe, because a lot of music we hear these days is based on their principles and their ideas, and it's just so much of it. It's so flexible. There's just so much fun to be had. Even little things that they were adding, like the vocal chop there, I love that. It's this little detail that you don't need. You could have just made the song without that. You don't need to have that in there, but I'm sure that the producer was like, no, we're missing something. What do? We already have this voice line. What if we did this? And they added it as a layer, if only just to sound cool, but maybe from the start they were planning on including something there. And that's again why I love this culture so much. You could really do anything with it, much like having the more hip-hop influenced beat here, having a much more modern sound with it. You could do anything. You could make this exact same song, but change it out for like a soca beat, or I don't know, a salsa, throw a little bit of that in there, get a little bit more spice in it. There's plenty of spice already, but this song is already so dirty, doing weird things like this B minor. Like, that's so disgusting. And then like the diminish happens up there too. And having these sorts of pairs be this aggressive, this sort of it's just like, why? Why would you be this aggressive? Why would you do this to the people? What's the point in all this? It's so angry, but at the same time, it's so perfect. It's like going to Taco Bell, eating everything you can, shitting your brains out for the next 3 days, and wondering why you did that to begin with. But in this case, instead of your butthole burning, you get an amazing song, and that is a much better outcome. Why did I come up with this analogy? What am I yapping about? And with that analogy, I think I'm going crazy enough I should end the video. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else, by all means, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!